So it's time for more score predictions on the championship. Let's go through these predictions. What's up everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. We've made it to match day 36. The final 10 games of the season starts now. And my goodness me, we've got some important games to say the least that can determine the top 6 race, with Cardiff going up against Watford and Bournemouth going up against Barnsley. Those two games are going to be huge to predict. If any of you got a correct score in midweek, your comment will be included on the screen. There weren't many games to predict, to be fair, but quite a few of you did get a couple of correct scores, so fair play to all of you. I got 0 in midweek. I was very antagonizingly close, 1 goal off for the majority of the games, but it's the way predictions go. You know, when you're 1 goal off, you're still not going to get it spot on. This is what the Lexus Hall of Fame looks like now. Charlie Brown has closed the gap on me, but thankfully, Joshua Frew didn't actually get a correct score, so it means the gap between me and him doesn't increase, and I've got a big chance to try and close that gap this weekend. If you guys like what you see, please make sure you do give this video a like. It's tremendously appreciated. If you haven't done, please hit that subscribe button. We really want to try and make a push to 500 subscribers. We're 80 away to 500. Could we potentially reach the target around April time? That'd be fantastically appreciated. And to increase my popularity, please share my channel to as many people as you can. Or if I would really make my day. With any further ado, let's start predicting these weekend's games. So we start off this weekend with tonight's game. We've got Blackburn going up against Brentford. Two sides in very, very different sorts of fitness levels, I would imagine. Blackburn had to play 2 games since Brentford have had their break, following that they had to play against Rotherham, and Rotherham had another COVID outbreak in their squad. Brentford have had a bit of a sustained rest, which could work to their advantage. Blackburn, since then, have had to play 2 games, and they had a win and a draw. 2 positive results amongst the 7 defeats they had in a row. With Blackburn right now, it looks like they are improving performances, and it could be in good time to play against Brentford. I remember the reverse fixture quite vividly. It was 2-2, and it was Jacob Davenport with an equaliser goal, and I remember it being so frustrated by it, because I think I predicted previously 2-1 to Brentford, and Davenport just scored a goal out of nowhere. I think Blackburn only scored with their 2 shots on target in the entire game. If both of these sides are as clinical as they were, we could see an abundance of goals. For me, I might just slightly edge Brentford. Following the fact they've had this break, I'm going to say a 2-1 away victory to Brentford, but I won't be surprised if Blackburn draw in this game, and that's exactly what FIFA 21 has predicted with a 1-1 draw. It's really, really close. Next game we've got is Luton going up against Swansea City. This game for Swansea last time was a comfortable 2-0 victory. I know Connor Roberts got a very, very early goal. And Luton did test Swansea, but they went down to 10 men following Matty Pearson getting 2 yellow cards. And actually, in the last 2 meetings, we've had 2 red cards in this game. So this game seems to be a very fiery game, and I'm glad that Sky Sports has actually picked it as a live game. We can potentially see some more fireworks in this game. Swansea right now missed the opportunity to get to second with their 1 midweek game against Blackburn. Pretty poor, I dare say, with a 1-1 draw. They did get their equaliser from a penalty as well, which I do think they were a little bit fortunate with as well. Luton right now, 2 wins and 6. They're just proving to be a little bit inconsistent, which is why I just don't see Luton finishing too high up the table. They're going to be in around a mid-table position. And I think what Swansea will do to challenge Luton is that they'll play with a load of intensity. They'll play with a lot of the ball, as always. I don't know whether if Swansea are going to blow Luton away, they may try and stay tight at the back, following they got absolutely drummed by Norwich. And following this game, I think for their goal difference sake, I think they'll want to try and keep the goals restricted. I might just say a narrow 1-0 away victory to Swansea. FIFA 21 was predicting a 2-1 away victory to Swansea, which would have been my alternative result. Next up, with a huge game in terms of the top 6, we've got Bournemouth going up against Barnsley. Both of these sides within 2 points from each other. If one of them win, they can really put the other team in jeopardy. And I would say I think Bournemouth need this win more than Barnsley, because they're the side outside of the top 6 in 7th place. It is 7th going up against 6th place. So whoever wins will be in the top 6 at the end of this weekend. Barnsley did have a game in midweek to try and increase the gap from the rivals that are chasing for the top 6, but disappointingly for them, they only managed a 0-0 draw against Derby. Bournemouth last time out, they had a 1-1 draw with Preston, where they were completely brilliant in that first half, but they threw it away in the second half. Still not too 100% convinced with Bournemouth, but with this game, following that they are home and their last home performance was a tough side against Watford, and they managed to get a 1-0 win for. Could this be a 1-0 win for Bournemouth here? I'm not sure. I mean, Barnsley have done well to keep an unbeaten streak to 7, but does that unbeaten streak end now? I'm not too sure, and therefore I'm going to sit on the fence and say a 1-1 draw. Based on performances, I probably have got a bit more confidence in Bournemouth right now, but I'll say 1-1. FIFA 21 is predicting a 1-0 victory to Bournemouth. Ironically, would have been my alternative prediction. Next up, we've got Birmingham going up against Bristol City. Now, I think this game is so important for Birmingham because if you've not looked at their following fixtures, after Bristol City, they've got a really tough couple of games. They've got Watford, Swansea, Brentford and Reading next in their next 4 games. So therefore, Birmingham, more than anything, need to try and do the impossible like what they did in their last home game and beat Queen's Park Rangers by 2-1. They need to do the same thing against Bristol City, although Bristol City away from home have looked really, really good. Their only 2 away games with Nigel Pearson in charge have been 3-1 away victories, and they've been against really, really tough sides as well, including their last one against Swansea City. With this game, I could see a draw take place with this game. I know this game last time, the reverse fixture was very, very poor in the eyes, but it was an important win for Birmingham. I think Bristol City may just edge this. Even with all the injuries they've got 10 injuries following. In fact, Birmingham have got 0 injuries. So both have got a really big contrast in terms of their injury table. But I think Bristol City with their quality still might just edge it. I'm going to say a 2-1 away victory to Bristol City. FIFA 21 is predicting a 2-0 away victory to Bristol City. Next up, another huge game in terms of the playoff picture. We've got Cardiff going up against Watford. Cardiff currently sit outside of the top 6 right now and are actually 4 points outside. If they cannot get a good result against Watford, their chances to get into the top 6 could well be in jeopardy, in my honest opinion. Watford right now still currently 2nd place in the table, 10 points behind the leaders Norwich, and Watford are going to be put severely under pressure following that Brentford and Swansea play their games before Watford as well. They could find themselves in 4th place by the time they play against Cardiff, so the pressure will be on them to see if they can get a good result and then take back for what they previously had, which was their 2nd place position in the table. Cardiff definitely got it in them to beat Watford, but I'm really not too sure. I mean, Mick McCarthy winning manager of the month because of his 11-game unbeaten streak with Cardiff right now deserves a lot of credit. But likewise with Barnsley, these unbeaten streaks are going to end eventually. And does it end against a team like Watford, who look all right? And in fact, in their last 2 away games, I would actually disagree and say they haven't looked too good. Their last away game, they lost to Bournemouth, and they only scraped a 3-2 away win against Blackburn. But once again, like Bournemouth and Barnsley, I'm going to sit on the fence because I can't make a decision. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. FIFA 21's predicting a 0-0 draw. And funnily enough, I can definitely see that. Next up, we've got Derby going up against Millwall. This game, for reverse fixture, was a very embarrassing one for Millwall fans. Not let's say from their performances, but how their fans were in the stadium. It was when they infamously booed when they took the knee, and it didn't make Millwall Football Club very, very popular in the past couple of months or so. A couple of months later, they play again. And Derby did have to play in midweek against Barnsley. They were unlucky not to get anything, actually. Graham Sheeny had a shot that just came off the inside of the post and was unlucky he didn't score from that. And Derby have improved their home form as well. They've had 4 home wins in a row. Their last home performance was a 1-1 draw with Nottingham Forest. With this game, following that Millwall have drawn 16 times this season, I'm going to make it 17. I think Millwall have been a little bit flat recently, and I think it will show in this game. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw with this game. FIFA 21 for once is actually going to agree with me. Next up, we've got Middlesbrough going up against Stoke City. Now, I remember when Stoke actually beat Middlesbrough in a reverse fixture, Stoke were firmly placed in the top 6 and Middlesbrough were the challengers. But right now, they couldn't be closer together. It is 10th going up against 9th. Now, when you have these mid-table battles normally in the Premier League, you expect a 0-0 draw, but in the Championship, you know, the result that may happen with a mid-table battle is a little bit more in the air. But also, both of these sides, if they can get a good win in this game, it could both reignite their chances of trying to enter into the race to be into the top 6. Middlesbrough had a very controversial defeat against Swansea, where I definitely think they should have had something. They had a goal wrongly chalked off and also had a controversial penalty at the end of it. Stoke had a pretty comfortable home win against Wycombe last game. With this game now, it's going to be more difficult for Stoke. I might just edge Middlesbrough. I think they'll go into this game really determined for the fact that they performed so well against Swansea and they were really unlucky not to get anything. I might edge Borough. I'm going to say 2-1 to Middlesbrough. FIFA 21 has predicted 2-0 to Middlesbrough, which is interesting. Next up is Nottingham Forest versus Reading. I won't lie, I'm not expecting to see too many goals within this game. Both of these sides have had very contrasting results in their last game round. Nottingham Forest had a pretty poor defeat against Watford, where they did lose out to only 1 goal in the end. And they did have a goal ruled out for offside, unfortunately for them. But even then, they barely competed with Watford, but I was more disappointed with their home defeat against Luton. And as with Reading, they managed to get a very comfortable 3-0 victory against a very hapless Sheffield Wednesday side, although it was definitely helped when Sheffield Wednesday were down to 10 men and they made it a very routine victory in the end. And following this, Reading have strengthened their chances to finish into the top 6 with 3 wins in a row. But against Nottingham Forest, it's going to be really tough to score past them. Following that, Nottingham Forest have kept 3 clean sheets at home in their last 4 games. I'm thinking it's going to be another clean sheet, but I don't think it'll be in the favour of Forest. I'm actually going to say it'll be a 0-0 draw in this game. I could be wrong, of course, because Reading do have the firepower, but I think with the injuries that Reading have, I don't think they're going to quite crack them down. FIFA 21 is predicting a very different result, a 3-0 away victory to Reading. Next up, we've got Queen's Park Rangers going up against Huddersfield. Now, both of these sides seem to be a little bit inconsistent, but more so with Huddersfield, because they cannot seem to win for no other money right now, with only 1 win in their last 12 matches, which for that reason is why Huddersfield are precariously just above the relegation zone. They're 6 points ahead of Rotherham. Of course, they will have 4 games in hand, following that they won't be playing against Coventry this weekend, unfortunately for them. As for Queen's Park Rangers, they're in and around a mid-table position. They did have a previous slump with 2 defeats and 3, but since then they've had back-to-back wins. So Queen's Park Rangers just proving to be a little bit inconsistent, but I think this is one of the many games which I can see Queen's Park Rangers looking at and thinking that it's a winnable game. For this game, I think with the quality that both these sides have, I'm just more confident with Queen's Park Rangers going forward right now. I think therefore I'll slightly edge Queen's Park Rangers. I'm going to say a 2-1 home victory to Queen's Park Rangers. FIFA 21 is predicting a 3-1 victory to Queen's Park Rangers. So pretty similar results that FIFA and I are having this weekend, to say the least. Next up, we've got Wycombe going up against Preston. Now, both encounters of Wycombe and Preston have been very entertaining, to say the least. The last time in the Championship, it was a 2-2 draw, and Wycombe were 2-1 up very briefly in this game, looking like that they were going to get a very crucial away win. But unfortunately, Jason McCarthy scored a very unfortunate own goal, which is how Preston managed to snatch a point off them. But in the FA Cup, Wycombe got their revenge on Preston with a battering 4-1 victory. They were comprehensively better than Preston in that game. Preston did not turn up at all. So Wycombe will be hoping for very similar fortunes, especially if they want to try and improve their points tally come the end of the season. But I think Preston will approach this game differently. Their squad's a lot more different now with the signings that they did manage to get. And Preston, another side that have been a little bit inconsistent. I think with this game, I think it'll be very cagey, but I think Preston might nick this one. I'm going to say a narrow 1-0 away victory to Preston. I feel like someone like Ben will probably say 1-1, following how Wycombe have been so good against Preston, which I could definitely see, but I think Preston may nick it. FIFA 21 is also going to agree with me as well. And lastly, we've got Sheffield Wednesday going up against Norwich. Now, if Sheffield Wednesday beat Norwich, it'll be a typical Championship result. And this was the last thing I said when Huddersfield played Cardiff, because Huddersfield quite nearly did that. They nearly got a 1-0 victory against Cardiff, the team that were in unbelievable runs of form, really. So I could definitely see Sheffield Wednesday try and get something, but they're playing a Norwich side where, let's be real, they are heads and shoulders above so many of the other Championship teams. Sheffield Wednesday looked very poor against Reading. I mean, they did have the first chance where they did have that header that came off the crossbar from Tom Lees. But unfortunately for them, they just did not create enough. Even if I felt they created a bit and still lost, I would have given Sheffield Wednesday a bit more hope. But the fact is, they didn't have a single shot on target against a Reading side that do concede quite a fair few goals. Norwich seem to love to score 2-0, and I think they're going to do the same in this game. I'm going to say they're going to win by 2-0 away from home. FIFA 21 has predicted a shock, a 1-0 victory to Sheffield Wednesday with a Panenka Barry Bannon penalty. I mean, if that happens, then I could go and die happy. But that wraps it up for today's score predictions. So as always, if you want to be in the Lexus Hall of Fame and you want to have a shout out, make sure you comment your score predictions in the comments down below. If you get a correct score on Monday. I'll show your comment and you'll be on the Lexus Hall of Fame. And just before I end the video, on the left hand side of the screen right now are my Premier League predictions. So not only Championship, you can always predict Premier League fixtures as well. If you get any scores right from the Championship and the Premier League, your comment will be included, as I said, and you'll be in the Lexus Hall of Fame. So make sure you comment your Championship and your Premier League predictions as well. But that wraps it up for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please make sure you do give this video a like. It's tremendously appreciated. If you haven't done, please subscribe to the channel. It will really, really make my day. We want to try and push the 500 subscribers as soon as we can. And please share my channel to as many people as you can. All of that would really make my day. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this video. And as always, take care, everyone.